Hello, everyone. Christian Aquila, and we're going to talk about forced incarnation, right?
Right. Yeah. We were having a conversation this morning. Different clients have experiences, and some of them are like forced incarnations. And while at the same time, I'm looking at beings being responsible for their condition and actually having a choice and having chosen to incarnate. But there's a little conflict, and we were talking about whether it's a conflict in philosophy or understanding of the phrase, or what are we talking about exactly, right?
Yeah.
See, so we started breaking it down specifically. What do we mean by forced incarnation? And then we really got into a conversation about it. We thought, hey, let's make a video. So here we are. Now, the idea of forced incarnation, I asked Aquila, I said, Aquila,
Yeah.
when you are sharing with clients, are you seeing a lot of clients being forced incarnation? Do you mean forced into an incarnation on Earth, or forced incarnation into the physical universe, but like, some other planet anywhere? Or what do you normally see when you work with clients?
So I would say, like, with all the clients we have had, and, with me looking into their past lives or them remembering and telling me all about it, it's more like I would give like 60% of people that I have worked with have been forced to incarnate here on Earth, which means whatever happened, where in the physical universe, in the 4D or whatever, something happened and they ended up here on Earth against their own free will. But the other 40% is like they made their own decision. It's like they're in the fourth dimension, fifth dimension, and wherever realm they are. And they know, like, oh, there's a game in the physical universe, and a game can be like, oh, look, there's a massive war. Oh, look, I need to help people. There's someone needing my help, and I can teach others. And whatever thing you're getting engaged with, those 40% made a decision to come here to the physical universe, Earth, and they ended up here somehow later. But first, the intention was to come to the physical universe.
I see. The way I see it, and you can look at it all kinds of different ways. And for you, that's going to be your reality. But the Earth experience and the physical universe experience is like a belief system territory. Your reality and what you see and experience here is based upon your beliefs. And you go into agreement with other beings who have also decided that this is their reality, and there's common agreement. So it becomes a common consensus reality experience. And it's also all these realities, or the physical universe or other universes or realms or planes, parallel worlds, all this stuff. They are all constructs in consciousness, like daydreams or dreams on automatic, and you're living in the dream world that you are creating. And when you create and live in a dream world with other people, it becomes more real between you and that other person. You put millions or billions or trillions into that world, and now you've got a really solid reality. So when you want to change the city square, there's a big fountain there, you want to put a big old oak tree there, you could do it in your imagination if you were having a daydream that was vivid and real, and it was your reality. Except if there are a lot of other people have already agreed that it's a fountain, and you agree that it's a fountain, you see a fountain, it's all a fountain, then you change it. Well, you might be able to see your tree, but everybody else is still seeing the fountain, and they're not agreeing with you. They're calling you crazy if you're seeing something that they are not. So likewise, this thing about agreements, it has to do with incarnations.
Right.
What I see is like when a person is like they're forced to incarnate on Earth, that means they either were on Earth before or on some other physical planet before, and they drop dead and they leave. Now they're in some other realm with other beings, and they get involved in interactions with these other beings. It's like games of life. Yeah, it's war, it's all kinds of creepy shit, but it's engaging spiritual stuff, non-physical, okay? Or you could say an experience beyond the normal human perception. Somebody that has a greater range of perception, like Akvila, we call it psychic, paranormal vision, or clairvoyance and stuff like this. But people can see beyond this realm. So when some people, they literally focus in, they tune into a consensus dream world, also known as a matrix, also known as a universe, also known as a belief system territory, but it's a place, and it can be as vast as the physical universe, but it's a non-physical universe. Now, in those non-physical realms, there's war going on there, and there's like planets and beings and reptilians and insectoids and all this in what we normally refer to as other dimensional beings.
Right.
And when we're playing out there, we get engaged, and then we can get forced into an incarnation into this realm. But it's like you've agreed to the game in that universe, and we're not forced into that game. But now that you're in that game, you can be forced into the physical universe experience. That's kind of how I understand. What are your thoughts on that? Yeah,
like I'm going with you. The only thing like I would add is that a lot of people, like we see, like, let's say 4D, 5D is like, oh, it's so appealing. It's going to be way better than Earth and physical plane. But it's exactly the same over there, like less pain because of agreements we've made, because of the reality we believe in. But even then, it's like everything that's going on here in the physical is going on in the 4D and 5D. But you can also find places where you can just get away and not be involved in the whole duality and these harsh games. But we have to remember that beings like us, we're pretty competitive. We like watching basketball and football and soccer and other games. We like playing video games. We like watching TV shows and movies, and it's not going to be all good. In romance, we have drama, and like action movies, there's war and killing, and that's what entertains us. So over here, we've been from the godlike being who's like, yeah, this game is going to be easy. I'm just going to go in, fool around, and go back. And then you spend too much time here in the physical, you end up here on Earth, lost most of your abilities, lost your memory. And now it's like, I hate this place. It's too fucking hard. I want to die. I want to get out. And this is too much. This is suffering. I hate this place. Like it's that victimhood. But you literally have to remember where you came from and the mindset you've had, because once you take responsibility, then, hey, you control your situation. And even though it's hard right now, you can focus on changing vibrations, altering what people see and how they act. And actually, like we have consensus reality, but at the same time, what you give out to others, it's like you start thinking, oh, the life is great. You change vibration and you tune into the reality of Earth, where people are actually kinder. And all of a sudden you attract that and you get the better reality. So again, there's like a lot of consensus reality, but we can also alter it if we just take responsibility for it. Another thing I'm finding out is that a lot of good guys out there are being infiltrated by the bad guys. So let's say you like Pleiadians, or you like Andromedans, or you like Lyrans, and you have heard about some of the groups, you have read about them, you relate to the information that you find about them on the internet or in various books. And specifically, some of those groups are being infiltrated by conscious beings who are trying or just picking other sides. Like maybe they're playing for reptilians, maybe they're playing for the Black Queen AI or some other like groups now. Those individuals will have a different aspect of them that can literally get into the Pleiadian group, and hey, they're going to have a Pleiadian energy. They're going to look like Pleiadian. They're going to act like Pleiadian. But in it all, they will have this goal, like they can like the whole time play out the good guy. As in like act as if, infiltrate, hijack, and consolidate. That is their tactic. But eventually their target is like, hey, let's pretend that this situation happens and gather a bunch of great people. And then oh my God, one of our officials of Pleiadians, or let's say Tigatans, is being attacked and forced to incarnate here on Earth. Someone please help them. And you're in the group that's responsible for this sort of thing. You are the warrior. You are that sort of time-space cop who's gonna get in there and save your group. It's your kindness, your people, it's your soul family. It's just like, hey, I'm gonna fight for them. This is my kind. And we get involved into these games, but people standing behind these games orchestrated on both sides. I'm not saying it is happening with everyone. Certain groups, some people here might be affected by it. Maybe 20, maybe 50, maybe a few hundred, but not like whole humanity. So in certain groups, people who you're protecting or are feeling very related to, get into the situation where they're being attacked and forced to incarnate. Your role at times can be saving them, and you sacrifice yourself for the greater good. It's a bad thing. And you end up incarnating here on Earth, sacrificing for everyone else, sacrificing for your higher ups, your soul family, your soul kind, and boom, you end up here. You never wanted to come here. You never had a master plan of what you're gonna do here on Earth. It was never your intention to come here. You're simply here because you sacrifice yourself for someone. And I'm specifically talking to certain individuals that will maybe relate to this story, because there are tons of possibilities of why you're here. But specifically what I'm talking about right now is that before coming here, some of you have been in a group where your kind or your group or your tribe got attacked, but it was orchestrated to have you make this decision to sacrifice yourself to end up here on Earth. Even if you didn't want that, you were just, hey, I'm going to protect someone I love and care about. And that got you here. You don't have a plan here. You don't have a thing you want to do, a master plan or a purpose. You sacrifice yourself and now you're suffering. So like a lot of these situations we have in life, we're looking for the purpose. Why am I here? A lot of people don't really have it. As in the goal before coming on Earth. But while you're here, now that you are here, like, hey, suicide for a lot of people is not an option. Basically, I was working with a person who was forcefully incarnated here. And also he got a fake purpose. And I was like trying to find out how did it all happen, what's wrong with him, or what caused it all to happen and stuff. And the thing I found is basically, as he lives in greater realities and different kind of dimensions and had lots of different lives over there, he came here in the physical universe after hearing there's a lot of people who need help, a lot of people that you can actually find and actually bring from the physical universe to the greater realities. And it does not necessarily have to be Earth. You can actually go to Andromeda and other places and find beings who are equally stuck just like us. So he, as a consciousness, comes here in the physical universe. What happens is imagine the whole physical universe is like a construct, like a little box. And once you get into it, looking for a place oh, where are those people that need help? So he gets this like numbness or calling. And the thing is, the whole construct has this hypnotic command that numbs people down. And it's literally like being on drugs. You come in fully aware, and there's that gas that gets into the system and oh, you're drugged down and all. It's not necessarily gas, but it's the whole construct that numbs down the consciousness and has this sort of physical, or let's say not necessarily physical, but that kind of voice going in you and forcefully just calling you out. You feel this a big urge to I have to go to Earth, and you're like a zombie now. You're not fully awake. You don't know that you're going to Earth, but you're oh, and you're following that sort of thing. So this person, he comes here with a great goal to free people from enslavement, to help them to go from the physical universe where they're trapped to greater reality where they're gonna be free. He comes here and this construct, boom, knocks him out. And there's this hypnotic command that drags him, and he goes following it. And he forcefully incarnates on Earth. He did not want it to go on Earth. He did not intend it to go there. But that construct is just giving you a carrot, and you're a donkey, you're following it, and all of a sudden you end up here on Earth. What happened? So the person ends up here on Earth. But another thing that happens, he also has implanted fake purposes.
It's like, oh, I have to help people here on Earth. I have to do this. I have to do that. And all of these things that the person feels the need to do, but at the same time, he's not aware, like, what is it exactly I should do? What's my purpose? I just cannot find it. Like no matter what he does, he just keeps on digging and trying out tons of things, but it just doesn't fit in. Doesn't find a purpose, and anyhow. So as we're looking into this case, like what happens, there are fake implanted purposes. So he has no need or want to be here on Earth. He was forcefully incarnated, and at the same time, fake purpose. So now it feels like, oh, I should do this, I should do this. And that fake purpose gets you engaged in life, but at the same time, it pushes you like, I just can't find my thing. I know I have to do something big. There's something big I have to do. Just like it's there, I know it, but I don't know what it is. And so many people feel lost, like, they're chasing this massive purpose and goal and trying to find themselves, and most of them will never will, because it's a fake purpose. And that fake purpose is like, I have to do something big. Yeah, describe specifically, what is that big thing that you have to do? How big is it? What are we talking about? Like, are you lifting out something big? Are we gonna lift some weights that are big or stuff? Or like what? So it's basically, that's fake implant can show up in lots of ways. And a lot of people can actually come here with a great goal. But another thing the dark force will do, they will look at what kind of being you are. Like, okay, you either come here on your own will, or they forcefully push you to incarnate here on Earth. And once we get there, they scan us. They look at our past lives, our Akashic records, and what have we done in the past? What are our interests? Oh, you're a person who loves to free other beings. You love helping others. All right. So they see your purpose and your true beingness is like loving, helping others, and actually freeing people that are enslaved, and like getting him from the physical universe where they are trapped into the higher realities. And so that's a real goal for some people. But it gets overlaid with a fake goal. And now, I just want to try to explain it in the best way possible. But basically, that goal where you are gonna free people is being overlaid by, you're still fighting for the truth, still fighting for people. But now it's all in the political terms. It's all about fighting with groups and stuff. But it feels like the same thing. Purpose feels like it's the same thing. But it's not. It's two different things. One is like it makes you focused here on the physical Earth. It makes you focus on specific groups, and then this fake goal that they overlay you with makes you so engaged in this life, in this physical body, in this individual experience, that you're so in, and then aggravates the hell out of you. For example, some people I just need to help people wake up. As a consciousness, when you're playing in different games, the way you wake people up is like, hey, you are not the physical body. You are not this one little being. You are infinite consciousness. You can do absolutely everything. Right now you're focused on the individual experience, but you can zoom out and realize that you are absolutely everything at the same time. You come here on Earth and you sort of want to do the same thing, but the message comes out like, hey, you are asleep, sheeplings, this. And we start talking about the politics, about racism, about different problems, and we're so engaged in life and still problems that we start identifying with this ego and this specifically individual experience more and more and more, and we forget the bigger game. And that fake purpose is so similar to our true goal and true beingness, but that's the thing. They try to okay, they need a lot of truth and just a little bit of lie. And that little bit of lie will be all they need to make you focused on this life and fall asleep and just okay, no matter what you do, you're still aggravated as hell, you still can't reach your goal, no matter what happens. And it really pisses you off or pushes you into depression.
There's a lot of these conversations or a chat going on. And I'm just going with, why are you doing this? Your intentions, who are you, and everything else. And with all of these answers, it's just hey, this specific being is making a lot of deals, with the Galactic Federation of Light, with the Andromedans, with other beings out there. And it's just suppressing beings. Let's say in this interdimensional war, they're some of them hey, it's a very good price. And it's a game of keeping beings trapped here, sort of using the consciousness, let's say on the grand scale war in other dimensions, everything's pretty much the same. You just don't feel as much pain. And what they're trying to do is let's get rid of the beings that get in the way too much and sort of like kick them into lower realms where they're going to feel pain and have a few issues. So let's say if you're playing in the interdimensional war out in the fifth dimension or other places, and you can just have your whole body explode and you're going to just like sort of come back together and no pain felt, like no pain felt, and you're just going to keep on going. These beings like have traps to where, let's say, as you're traveling, it's like an invisible wall that you hit, but this wall is like a portal that will teleport you to lower realms, and it's like being hit in the head to where you lose your awareness for a moment. And in that part where you lose your awareness for moments, they have traps to bring you lower. And then it's the same as like, what happened? And now you're stuck in a different situation and you have to deal with that. So there's like one thing after another, like Americans and English speakers have a saying, but like in Lithuanian, it's like jumping from meeting a wolf in a forest and oh boy, and you're going to jump onto the bear as you run from the wolf. So it's like one little thing onto a bigger, onto a bigger problem constantly. And, like that's what happens. Like they kick out beings from this interdimensional war on a higher states. They throw us into like four-dimensional reality, and over there, it's like, oh, look, you're the great being. And they like run up to you. There's lots of cases and lots of scenarios how it can go. But I'm just seeing some of the examples as it like sort of like flashes by me. And a lot of these beings, it's like you are being kicked into a lower realm or dimension, and you end up in a space where some random being, as you're like trying to wake up, like, oh, what happened for a moment, just like seconds, just like getting hit in the head. And as you look around, there's a being running up to you saying, oh my God, like you're so great with your powers. Like first there's making a contact and making you feel good, like seeing you as like, oh, like you're so strong, you're good, you're capable of doing a lot of things. So it's like, yeah, like that's me. Like you agree with how they identify you because this is how you identify yourself. But with that agreement, they lead you into this, can you help us? Like we have this major thing going on and we rarely have any help. And so that help can be like, look, there are beings like trapped in this lower realm, or there's like the soul traps and other little things. And the whole grand game you had to play that you agreed to get involved with yourself in the first place. So it's like agreeing to play football with someone. Yeah. So now you are in the field, and from the field, you got hit by a guy, and now you're trying to deal with the guy. So like, it's kind of like getting into a like different dimension. And now you're trying to deal with something else here. Cause like, oh, look, it seems like to be very sudden. You have to like, do you feel like a good being? And why not? Like you're capable. And these people seem to be like a really harsh, like situation. So you go help out. And it's like, this is how you just like went sideways. You had this great thing and a lot of people can come back, but just sort of like getting distracted, getting refocused, repurposed, and like, oh, look, like let's say you're hurrying up to work and on the side where like on a side road or a sidewalk or somewhere, or like in the middle of the road as you're driving to work, there's a dog and oh, fuck, I'm going to stop the car, get out and help the dog or this old lady cross the road or get to safety. So you get sidetracked, like instead of going to your job, like most people going to the higher dimensions and coming back to what they were doing in the first place, now it's taking care of a puppy because you love puppies and they will find something that you can relate to. And it's like, yeah, it's me. Like, I really care about this. And so they can personalize it. Whatever you're about, like if I would be like caring about a puppy or an old person, like, oh, I'm going to help them out because it's my nature, it's who I am. They just draw us in so fast. They make us agree with our identity. Like, yeah, I feel like I'm God being. I'm capable of it all. Sure. Yeah. This is how I see myself. And this is what they say I am. So we have an agreement. Then they have me repurpose on something else that I care about. Like actually, and, it's going to just sort of like circle down and, oh, look, a lot of stuff happened on the way. And, it can be within seconds. It could be within years, but you're so constantly engaged. Like, oh, look, as you're here, there's this massive library of all the information in the multiverse, and you can just take your time to read about it all. Like, yeah, I'm gonna go on and like check it out, like the music, the healing stuff, whatever you're all into, So they get these traps, and people end up here. And these controllers, like let's say the Council of Mind, they're playing on the like different level, there's interdimensional war, where one of the ways they trap beings over here is this, like, these little, I don't know, portals or little traps that will get us on the lower places, get us a good kick in the head, so to speak, and then, you know, gets us repurposed. You're constantly like, oh, look. And how we end up on Earth, a lot of things happen on the way here. But we agree to come, and then we sort of get so engaged in the story that we forget about other stuff, or we're so busy that, like, yeah, I can come back. It feels like, you know, like time is like a relative thing. It's like we can constantly jump back in that moment, but it seems there's like something big and I don't know, like something of a bigger priority to do, and we just go with it. And so, like, this being from the Council of Nine is just like, hey, that's just my way of playing with beings, trapping them on lower realms. They end up on Earth eventually, but this being is like not even giving a damn. But hey, if they're on Earth, it's like very easy to use. So that's the thing. It's all about people like us, or beings, humans, consciousness, you know, like sort of getting sidetracked with, oh, look, you know, like we just feel this rush and suddenness and like, gotta help. It's all about me, like totally fits with who we are. And it's just like very easy to get sidetracked. So, you know, from this whole experience, it's like, take responsibility and hey, my fault. Like, I did it. I came here eventually from my own actions, my own things. Like, you know, like, yeah, we can blame other parties, like, hey, you did it. But we can always escape and go back. Like, oh, I just jumped into the different realm. Let's go back. And you just like use your intention, you teleport, you're back there in the game. And whoever is here on Earth listening to this video, we just sort of continued with little distractions and things we were feeling connected to. And not to say like everything we have experienced on all these realms for years is a distraction, but in a way, you know, you find a thing and then, oh, look, we find people you're relating to and your whole story changes.